Welcome back to the Ed Show. J.P. Morgan's $2 billion blunder has one potential upside. It could be good timing because regulators right now are writing a version of the Volcker Rule which could prevent this kind of risky bet from happening in the future. We can only hope. J.P. Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon was one of the voices against a strong version of the Volcker Rule. But, of course, Congressman Barney Frank now sees this as a big opportunity.
Mr. Dimon wanted a version of the Volcker Rule that, frankly, wouldn't do very much. I think we now have a stronger argument for a Volcker Rule that says no to a bank. Your main job is lending and managing the money of your clients. You should not put your own money at risk.
The J.P. Morgan mess is also reminding voters how Wall Street nearly sent us into a depression 4 years ago, and it gives President Obama, no doubt, an opportunity to do something about it in this election year. But a recent poll should make the president take notice. In 5 potential swing states, large majorities agree with the statement. President Obama has not done enough to hold the banks accountable for their role in the housing collapse. The collapse of the housing market and Wall Street's meltdown 4 years ago is still very much in the forefront of people's minds in this country. President Obama should be out there front on this issue, no doubt, especially since Mitt Romney still doesn't get it. Here's what Romney said today about J.P. Morgan.
I would not rush to pass new legislation or new regulation. This is, in the normal course of business, a large loss, but certainly not one which is crippling or threatening to the institution.
That is just total denial. Joining me tonight, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. Senator, good to have you with us.
Good to be with you.
The circumstances surrounding J.P. Morgan, how big an opportunity is this right now?
I think it calls attention to the recklessness and the greed of Wall Street. It reminds people that 4 years ago, these people on Wall Street forced this country into the worst recession since the 1930s, forced us to have to bail them out. And while Dodd-Frank was a step forward, it did not go far enough. The American people are angry at Wall Street. You know what they want? They want our financial institutions to invest in the real economy. They want Wall Street to be lending money to businesses so we can create jobs. They do not want Wall Street involved in a gambling casino, waging risky bets and losing substantial sums of money and threatening the entire economy.
How hard is it going to be for the Senate to do what the American people want them to do when Wall Street is so terribly influential, and some say the banks own the Senate?
Well, and let me tell you what many others might not tell you. You know, some people think, well, gee, the Congress regulates Wall Street. I think the truth is that Wall Street regulates the Congress. They have untold, unlimited amounts of money which they use, by the way, to get the deregulation. You recall, during the 90s, in a bipartisan way, to get the deregulation, which drove us into the brink of financial collapse. They have all kinds of lobbyists on Wall Street. They make all kinds of campaign contributions. So it will be hard. But on the other hand, as your polls show, the American people understand how dangerous Wall Street can be. They want Congress to stand up. And if we do what the American people want, it will be the right thing.
All right, what do you want to do? You want to break up the banks?
Here's what I want to do. For a start, you need to re-regulate. You need to re-regulate. You need to bring back Glass-Steagall. You need to say that if we're providing federal insurance for large banks, you know what? You can't go gambling. You got to invest in the economy. You got to do conservative
Commercial
banking.
and investment banks have to be designated.
If investment banks want to invest, get involved in Las Vegas-type activity, let them do it, but not with federal insurance.
And how much of a chance of that becoming a reality is that?
Well, I think our friend Jamie Dimon may have made it a little bit easier.
Okay.
So here's the point, Ed.
Yeah.
Invest, do whatever you want to do, that's fine, but don't come crawling to the federal government for insurance. That's the key issue here.
Well, you have the big getting bigger after what happened on Wall Street.
All right, here's what you got. And I want the American people to hear this. Today, you have 3 out of the 4 largest banks bigger than they were before we bailed them out.
3 of the 4?
Yes.
Bigger than they were?
Yes. Significantly also, you have the 6 largest financial institutions have assets of over $9 trillion, which is the equivalent of 2/3 of the assets, equivalent to 2/3 of the assets of the GDP of the United States of America. So stop for a minute. When you have institutions that large, J.P. Morgan Chase over $2 trillion, while some will say, we're never going to bail them out again, right? We're going to let them fail. I don't think that's the case. That's the danger of them. When they're that big, if they go under, they will be bailed out again. Number two, if Teddy Roosevelt were alive right now, and he saw that the top 6 banks provided half the mortgages in America and 2/3 of the credit cards, what do you think a good Republican like Teddy Roosevelt would have said?
Yeah, he'd have gone after it, no doubt.
He would have said, break them up. They're dangerous to the economy. They're dangerous to taxpayers.
69% of the American people own homes. Doesn't common sense come to play with lawmakers that why would you want to gamble with that part of the economy? Why would you give people the license to do that? Now, they could go back tonight and do it again. Byron Dorgan was here last night. He says they're all doing it.
Mm-hmm.
When's the Senate going to wake up? You're there. Where's the other 99?
Let me just say again what many people will not be happy to hear. Wall Street is extraordinarily powerful. Congress doesn't regulate them. The big banks regulate what Congress does.
Is it a political winner for the president to just hammer this on the campaign trail?
Ed, in my humble opinion, when the president first took office, and I got to tell you, Byron Dorgan and I and others went to the White House, half a dozen of us, we met with the president, and we said, this is 3 years ago, Mr. President, you got to stand up to Wall Street. You tell me, Ed, how many of these guys have gone to jail?
Well, none of them have gone to jail.
What kind of punishment has been rendered for the horrendous damage they have done to millions and millions of people? Nothing at all, virtually nothing at all. And what they are doing now is they're coming back stronger than ever. With Citizens United, they now have unlimited sums of money to put into political campaigns. Now, there's another issue that I want to touch on, and that is you have a situation where the Fed, of course, is supposed to be regulating the large financial institutions, and then you have the absurdity of having somebody like Jamie Dimon, a member
of the Fed,
of the New York Fed.
You want to get him out of there. You're going to introduce legislation to do that?
They'll have legislation next week ending this absurd conflict of interest.
Okay. Senator, great to have you with us.
Good to be with you.
Thanks so much. It is a subject that we have to spend a lot of time on, and I hope the American people get it.